The Big Ten refuses to back down to the SEC, and let's be honest, why should they?
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome all to another edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen each and every day. My name is Sonny Verma, your host here at Locked On Illini, where I continue to provide you coverage daily. That's right, every single day of the beloved orange and blue. And I ask for nothing in return, except, if you don't mind, if you can hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It just lets me know you're watching. And also, it's my long-term goal to have 4,000 subs on YouTube at least by the time the season kicks off, which is going to be on August 29th, a Friday against Western Illinois. I can't wait. Football season is right around the corner. Speaking of football season, I wanted to talk about a different news story. This is a little bit more on a national level, but I still wanted to talk about how it pertains to Illinois. And that's the Big Ten made it official that they're sticking with the current college football playoff format. No changes, no gimmicks, no secret handshake deals. You might hear this and say, okay, so what? But I'm telling you, this decision might be one of the more important ones of the entire season, because it doesn't just affect Michigan or the Ohio States. This is going to directly impact Illinois, at least for another season. So I'm going to break down what this all means, why the Big Ten is standing firm, and why Bret Bielema and the Illini are ultimately big winners in this standoff. So a little backdrop, if you're not paying attention. For months now, the Big Ten and SEC have been locked in a power struggle over the structure of the college football playoff. At one point, people thought we were heading towards a 16-team playoff with automatic bids and a nice mix of conference champions and at-large spots. That everyone wins, right? Not exactly, because the SEC, being the SEC, wanted to tilt the deck in their favor. They started pushing for a format heavy on at-large bids, less automatic spots for conference champs, more chances for the third or fourth best teams to sneak in. Why does that matter? Well, the SEC only plays 8 conference games, while the Big Ten plays 9. That's one full extra week of heavy-hitting matchups for Big Ten teams, like Illinois playing a Penn State or an Iowa, while Georgia has to play Middle Tennessee. The Big Ten said, no, we're not going to give you more playoff access when your schedule is lighter than ours. And honestly, they're right. Commish Tony Petitti drew a hard line in the sand. He basically told the SEC, you want more playoff spots? Match our scheduling. Go to a 9-conference game. Until then, we're not budging. So now we're kind of in a stalemate, and that means the current format is going to stay. So what does that actually mean? Well, it looks like we're going to be sticking with the 12-team playoff setup. 5 automatic bids go to the top-ranked conference champions. The other 7 spots are at-large bids, essentially creating wild cards based on rankings. That might sound technical, but here's why it matters for Illinois. This format is built to reward achievement, not just branding. You don't have to be Alabama. You don't have to be Ohio State. If you win the Big Ten or even finish near the top with a very strong resume, you're in the mix. And even more importantly, you don't have to out-politic your way in. There's a path for Illinois that, quite honestly, this upcoming season, we can realistically walk. Let's focus on Illinois. We've got a coach at Bret Bielema who just is not ducking competition. He's very outspoken, saying it's flat out unfair for one conference to play fewer league games while demanding equal playoff access. He said so back in June. Bret, and I quote, "There's no way we can do a 16-team playoff if they're not at least 9 conference games." That's not coach speak. That's a guy who understands what is at stake. Illinois is building a program the right way. Physicality, depth, development. We're not trying to be a flash in the pan. We're trying to be sustainable. And under the current format, that kind of growth matters. Take 2025, for example. Illinois has a tough but balanced schedule. No Michigan, no Oregon, but we do host USC in Champaign and have all the defending champions coming to Champaign. That's a high-profile game that could move the needle. If Illinois goes, let's say, 10-2, or 9-3, with one of those losses being a close one to USC or Ohio State, guess what? We're competitive in the Big Ten. That's a playoff resume. And thanks to the Big Ten's decision, we don't need the SEC's blessing to make it count. Let's zoom in even further. Bielema isn't just coaching to win games. He's trying to build an identity that recruits and fans can believe in. His whole thing, toughness, playing real football, no cupcakes, no ducking. Illinois has gone out and scheduled Missouri, Duke, Kansas in recent non-conference games. It's a program that's just not afraid to be bold. Meanwhile, the SEC is over here trying to sneak 3 teams into the playoff by avoiding real challenges outside their league. You think Georgia wants to play Illinois in September? No chance. But Illinois, they line them up. They'll take on the challenge. And now, under the current playoff structure, that mindset might actually be rewarded. This isn't about fair access. It's about giving programs like Illinois a real seat at the table without having to go undefeated or hope for chaos. That's the advantage of having a league that's finally willing to say, no, we're not going to lower our standards. And let's not forget how ultimately this all trickles down. Because the playoff access isn't just about December, it's about April, May, June, essentially when kids are picking schools. Imagine telling a recruit, hey, come to Illinois. We play big games. We're on national television. And if we win the Big Ten, we've got a real shot at the playoff. That's a much easier pitch than, well, if the SEC lets us in, maybe we'll sneak in as an 11th seed. This structure empowers schools like Illinois, schools that are rising, hungry, and playing real football to chase something big. And that's the narrative. Build it the right way, and it's going to eventually pay off. It's one that Bret Bielema can sell himself to recruits, to fans, to donors, to everyone. So what's next? Well, unless the SEC suddenly changes its mind and adds a 9th conference game, good luck with that. Nothing's changing. The current format sticks. The Big Ten stays strong. And Illinois, we just go to work. We've got a manageable but meaningful 2025 season ahead, and that includes the schedule. We're stacking veteran talent, we're returning experience at quarterback, and we've got a staff that's aligned and a fan base that is extremely hungry. The path is clear. Win the Big Ten or finish in the top quarter, at least make noise, and you're going to be in the conversation. You don't need style points. You don't need favors. You just need results. And quite honestly, under Bret Bielema, that's all I really need. So to wrap this up, the Big Ten didn't just defend a playoff format. They defended schools like Illinois, teams that want to earn it, not just be handed it. And for Illinois fans, that's a win, a real win. Because now every Saturday in the fall, every drive, every possession, every win, it all counts for something real. We're not chasing ghosts. We're not hoping for brand bias. We're building our own path, brick by brick. And if you're Bret Bielema, you have to love that. And if you're an Illini fan, you have to love that even more. Look, I'm not mad if I'm the SEC. I'm probably doing the same thing. If you talk about who's been the most dominant football program over the last 20 years, sure, it's been the SEC. But they've had reasons for that. You know what? The circumstances, the environment, the college football landscape has changed. Now, everybody's paying people. Now, ESPN is not considered cool anymore. The Big Ten, by the way, has won the last 2 national championships. There's no reason for the Big Ten to back down to the SEC for any reason. And I'm really glad that we've got a commissioner, and more importantly, Illinois has a head coach that is not going to back down to the SEC. Because again, there is no reason to. Make the playing ground fair for everybody. Make what actually happens on the field matter more than what's happened in the field the past 50 years. That's what matters, and that's why I'm proud of the Big Ten Conference. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the greens, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling With FanDuel, you can get in the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. Again, I've already told you guys, I've got my eyes locked on PCA on the Cubs. I have them at plus 8,000 and plus 5,500 to win the National League MVP. Right now, he's the second favorite, I believe, right behind Shohei Ohtani. So that's going to be something I'm going to be following along all summer long. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. And welcome back. Early on Wednesday, the College Basketball Report produced a list of their all 2020s Big Ten basketball team. And on the first team, you had Cassius, Ayo, Terrence Shannon Jr., Keegan Murray, and Zach Edey, of course. And yes, you heard that right. Illinois was the only program to have two players on the first team. I'll go over the second and third teams a little bit later, maybe in a future episode. But what I wanted to kind of discuss is there's a lot of people kind of having a debate between Ayo and whether Bubui deserved to be there over Ayo, or even if Braden Smith deserved to be there over Ayo. Now, Bubui, I get if the few Northwestern fans that actually care about basketball, you get worried about this, or this is something you're irate over, that's fine. I don't hear you because you don't exist in my universe. But the Purdue fans, I thought this was actually a very interesting conversation with Braden Smith. And so I kind of want to discuss whether I think this is as close as Purdue fans want to think. Now, I get it. A lot of you are going to say, hey, Braden hasn't finished his career yet. I understand. And you know what? If Braden wins the National Player of the Year this year and Purdue ends up winning the national championship, which they're one of the big prominent favorites to do, then maybe this is a conversation we can revisit. I probably won't, but if you're a Purdue fan and you want to produce your own video, go ahead and do it. This list was produced on July 16th, and so I'm just going to go based off of today. I promise I'm going to try to be as unbiased as I can, but of course I can't help it if a little bit the orange and blue bias is going to ultimately shine through. I'm going to dive deep into the fascinating stories and collegiate legacies of both prominent Big Ten dynamic point guards from recent years, and I'm going to walk you through each player's career and legacy, at least thus far in Braden's case, and we're going to hopefully by the end have a clear sense of who at this point in their 3 years of college basketball had a better career in terms of legacy. So let's set the stage by meeting our stars. First, we're going to start with, of course, Ayo Dosunmu. Ayo was a Chicago native, rose to stardom at Morgan Park High School, known for his clutch performances and drive. He quickly became one of the nation's top recruits, a consensus top 35, I believe, recruit, a player, a mainstay in all-star games like the Jordan Brand Classic, and a prize for any top-tier program. When Ayo committed to Illinois, he was viewed as a potential savior, a beacon of hope for a proud program that had fallen on very, very tough times. As for Braden Smith, by contrast, Braden Smith's story starts in Westfield, Indiana. Not quite as heavily hyped as Ayo was, Smith was still a force of nature. He earned Mr. Basketball honors and smashed high school records for points and assists. Purdue leaned into Smith's playmaking, confident. He would energize their backcourt, even if Smith arrived without the blue chip label that Ayo came into into Champaign. So let's move to the numbers, since they frame so much of the conversation when it comes to college basketball. Ayo Dosunmu played from 2018 to 2021. Braden Smith, 2022 to 2025. Now, technically, again, I know he's got his senior year still left, and we can really visit that conversation if we want to. I'm just going to compare apples to apples, and that's their first 3 years of college basketball. Ayo played 91 games. Braden Smith, 105. Points per game, Ayo averaged 16.7 to 12.5 for Braden Smith. Ayo averaged 4.8 rebounds per game. Braden Smith averaged 4.9 rebounds per game. That surprised me a bit. Assists, 3.9 for Ayo, 6.8 for assists for Braden Smith. And that, of course, did not surprise me. Steals, both averaging 1.1. Field goal percentage, 48% for Ayo, 42.8% for Braden Smith. And three-point percentage, 33% for Ayo, 40% for Braden Smith. Dosunmu was a powerful scorer and more of an all-around threat. Smith is a tough And he put up definitely better assist numbers, and he very clearly is a better three-point shooter, which kind of illustrates their stylistic differences when it comes to offense. They're not very similar type of players. So let's just break it down year by year. Ayo Dosunmu in his freshman year absolutely hit the ground running. He led Illinois in scoring as a freshman, a major feat that drew national attention and earned him all Big Ten freshman honors. Braden Smith in his freshman year started every game, averaging close to double figures in scoring, paired with just under 5 assists and 4 rebounds. He also landed on the Big Ten all freshman team. Dosunmu, sophomore year, took another leap, improving his scoring and playmaking and picking up a first team all Big Ten honors, developing a reputation for late game heroics. Braden, another major leap forward as well. Smith's assist numbers soared among the best in the country. He earned all Big Ten first team honors, garnered all American mentions, and was a National Bob Cousy Award finalist. Finally, in the junior year, this was Ayo's masterpiece. He averaged over 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. He put up multiple triple doubles, an exceptionally rare accomplishment for a college basketball guard. He led Illinois to a Big Ten tournament title and was named a consensus first team All-American. He won the Bob Cousy Award for the nation's top point guard and guided Illinois to the #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Braden Smith last year solidified himself as Purdue's quarterback, especially in the first year without Zach Edey, further upping his averages to 12.5 points per game, nearly 5 boards, and nearly 7 assists, continuing a run of all Big Ten and All-America caliber seasons. Smith's ability to orchestrate the offense, get teammates involved, and rarely turn the ball over turned him into a linchpin of that Boilermakers attack. But let's talk about team success and leadership. A great point guard doesn't just fill up the box score, they elevate their entire team. Let's examine the impact these players had on their program's fortunes. Illinois with Ayo Dosunmu. Ayo arrived at a very struggling point for the Illinois program. Within 3 seasons, however, he had engineered a massive turnaround. By the end of his junior year, Illinois had won the Big Ten tournament in 2021, claimed the #1 seed in the NCAA tournament, and had returned to national prominence, spending weeks ranked in the top 25. Ayo didn't just star in, but he kind of ignited the rebirth of Illinois basketball, inspiring future recruits and bringing pride back to the program. As for Purdue with Braden Smith, Braden stepped into let's be fair, a more stable program, but his contributions were no less central. During his time, Purdue consistently made NCAA tournaments. The team became a fixture in the top 10, and the Boilermakers offense became both dynamic and efficient, a lot of it fueled by Smith's vision on the break and precision in pick and roll situations. Again, overall, Ayo's accolades include 2 triple-doubles, a conference tournament MVP, and the iconic Cousy Award, not to mention the ultimate honor of having his jersey retired and immortalized at Illinois. Smith, meanwhile, has been a Bob Cousy finalist and put himself on track to hold Purdue's all-time assists record, an incredible legacy at a school known for producing very good guards. So let's shift the conversation over to advanced metrics and maybe intangibles. It's not just what you do, it's how you do it. Dosunmu was renowned for clutch shots and big-time plays. He seemed to will his team to victory, delivering game winners when it mattered the most. His defensive prowess and elite mid-range scoring set him apart alongside his leadership in that locker room. Smith, on the other hand, he's a maestro. His basketball IQ is off the charts. His vision and decision-making, elite. Turnovers were rare, and the offense flowed, and Purdue benefited from his calm under pressure and deadly outside shot, stretching defenses in almost every game. Both guards changed the game, but with distinctly different brushes. Dosunmu is the high-scoring hero and culture changer. Smith is more of a conductor whose fingerprints were on every offensive possession. So, what it comes down to, the ultimate measure. What did their career means for their schools? For Ayo, well, he's universally regarded as the face of Illinois modern basketball rebirth. His loyalty, in particular returning for that 3rd year when he could have easily gone to the pros, signaled to the nation that Illinois was serious. He inspired future prospects, set a new standard for excellence, and left Champaign with a program in a much, much better place than when he found it. Dosunmu is, simply put, a legend at Illinois. Smith's story at Purdue isn't one of rebirth. It's about raising the ceiling of an already strong program. By the time he graduates, Smith may own Purdue's assist records and be a touchstone for future Boilermaker point guards. His effect is one of polish and poise, helping Purdue contend for Big Ten titles and national championship. And to bring in overall context, no evaluation would be complete without mentioning that Dosunmu's early Illini years meant carrying teams with less talent and higher stakes. His responsibility was noticed in scoring, facilitating, and leading. It was immense. Braden, by comparison, joined a pretty solid supporting cast at Purdue with arguably the greatest college basketball player of all time. He didn't make his teammates better, but also benefited from sharing the floor with, again, Zach Edey, and also some very solid perimeter talent. The difference? Ayo's burden was much heavier. Smith's environment let his strengths shine more easily. In conclusion, Dosunmu's career edges ahead, not just because of statistics or hardware, but due to the transformative nature that he had as an Illini. He took a fallen giant and restored it. He achieved national awards like the Bob Cousy and consensus All-American honors, plus Big Ten tournament glory and historical program recognition. Ayo's heroics, loyalty, and leadership marked a turning point for Illinois basketball, a once-in-a-generation figure. Smith, while not far behind, I'm trying to be neutral here, remains an elite talent whose ongoing career still holds a lot of promise. Should his journey end with a deep tournament or national title run, the conversation, of course, changes. Right now, though, as of today, Ayo's impact on the game and on his school, to me, remains the benchmark. Let me know your thoughts. Ayo, Braden Smith, this is an Illinois channel. I'm assuming most of you are going to agree with me, but if you're a Boilermaker who just happened to stumble across this clickbait, let me know. Make your argument for Braden Smith. I would love to hear it. And welcome back to Locked On Illini. If you haven't already, make sure you've hit that like button for me. It really does help a channel like this grow, and it helps with the algorithm, all that computer nerdy talk. Speaking of which, over the next couple of days, I'm going to be traveling a lot, including, as I've mentioned on the show, I'm going to be in Las Vegas next week for the Big Ten Media Days. In the meantime, I've already gotten a bunch of DMs and emails from you. By the way, if you want to email me a question or an idea for a segment, send me an email at talkillini@gmail.com or find me on your favorite social media, whether it is Locked On Illini or Talk Illini. I handle all those accounts, so I'm the one reading them and responding to you. I've had a couple questions come in over the past couple of weeks, and I realized, what? I'm going to go ahead and ask for more. If you do have any questions, again, maybe leave one in the comment section here if you're watching, or email me or DM me. I'm going to do a mailbag episode. Look, it's the off season. Sometimes I can't just address every question that you guys might have. So what I can do is maybe go one by one and try to answer them in a quicker, bullet style format. So if you do have a question, let me know. I plan on doing that maybe later on this week or early next week. Also, if you have a question that you wish you could ask Bret Bielema or Luke Altmaier or any of the other players that are going to be representing the Illini next year, let me know. If there's a question I really like, I'll be up there. I'll be at the podium, and I can ask those questions for you. This is just one of the coolest aspects of this job, and so I want to have you guys feel like you're as involved as you can be. Before I let you guys go, I did want to mention that a little update on the Luigi Swigo recruitment. If you recall, he's a 7'2" big man who looked like a couple months ago that Illinois was going to lock up, but then wanted to apparently reclassify. And because of that, all of a sudden my enthusiasm for his recruitment as an Illini wavered a little bit. Yeah, he visited, I believe, Purdue, and then the following weekend he visited Indiana. And quite honestly, at that point, I was preparing for the worst possible news. Because again, if you're a 7'2" big man, going to Purdue just makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. By the way, there's a lot of Purdue in this episode. I apologize for that. I just realized I've mentioned that program far too many times today. I won't do that again. Well, Luigi decided not to commit to the Boilermakers or the Hoosiers. Instead, Luigi signed with the KK Mega Basket for the upcoming season. He's one of the top international players in the class of 2026. But ultimately, what this means is that Luigi can now, after next season, essentially he's not reclassifying and coming to college basketball. He's going to play one season out in Europe, and then he can decide at that point if he wants to go straight to the NBA, which absolutely is plausible, or he can decide to come play college basketball. And I'm going to tell you why I think this is really good news for Illinois. If Luigi wanted to reclassify, the opportunity was there at a Purdue or at an Indiana. I think the fact that he didn't tells me that he really wanted to become an Illini, that the relationships that he had built with the Illini basketball coaching staff mattered to him, because otherwise, why not? I think him staying in Europe for 1 year is great because, by the way, this program that Luigi signed with has connections with the University of Illinois. Now, does that mean I think that Luigi's going to come to Illinois next season? Not necessarily, because I do think if you're a 7'2" big man playing in Europe, your stock has never been higher when it comes to the attention of NBA draft and the GMs out there. Look, those guys will draft based on potential. And if Luigi shows enough next year, I think he could very well be drafted maybe late in the first round or early second round, if that's the track he's looking for. But if not, if he does want to, maybe he doesn't improve as much as he wishes he could, or he's not quite in the NBA mock drafts, and he decides to come to college basketball, that path that was laid out for him with Illinois as Tomislav Ivicic's successor is still going to be there. I fully expect and hope that Tomislav has the junior year, I guess technically this is his junior year next year, that propels him to a late first round status when it comes to the NBA draft. And if that does, we have that hole at the center spot. Maybe it's going to be his brother, Zvonimir Ivicic, which is just fine, because again, that still leaves open prominent minutes for a guy like Luigi to come in and basically be groomed for the role that Tomislav Ivicic has played last year and he's going to play next year. I mean, they have very similar styles. Again, I'm very big on Luigi, even NBA Draft Point, the Twitter account, who I think is the best international scout in all of social media. If you're not following him, again, at NBA Draft Point, please do. He calls him a top 5 international player in the class of 2026. I will say, I feel if Luigi wants to play college, I think you as an Illini fan should feel a lot more optimistic on it next season, because he had the opportunity to play for Purdue. He had the opportunity to play for Indiana. And truth be told, if next season I saw him in that blue and gold or the crimson and white, I would have felt a little sick to my stomach. But that does not seem to be the case. It really does, at least my impression, mean that if he's going to play college basketball, he loved his visit to Illinois. He loves the coaching staff at Illinois. And if he wants to play stateside, at least at the college basketball level, it's going to be in Champaign. Thank you so much for making Locked On Illini your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. That's going to wrap it up for today. Again, make sure you're locked on right here at Locked On Illini. I'll have content for you all week long. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.